Welcome back to the Empowered Woman Podcast, the #1 show on personal growth, visibility, and profit for women entrepreneurs. If you're wanting to start believing in yourself, giving yourself permission to succeed, and let your voice be heard to make an impact in the world as an entrepreneur, this is the place for you. I am so glad that you're here. My name is Marta Spurk, and I'm your host, triplet mom, woman empowerment coach, and all things motivation extraordinaire. Welcome again, and let's dive into today's episode. Hi, Sabrina. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hello. I'm so excited to be with you today, Marta.
Yay, me too. So backstory, I always like to start with a backstory. I connected with Sabrina, I feel, during the pandemic. We met in a virtual event. It was actually the first time I attended Gary Barnes' boot camp. Was virtual, and you were there too, attending from out of town, right? Because you're not local to Colorado, and we've stayed connected virtually. Recently, we reconnected through somebody else, a mutual connection, which was not Gary. It was somebody else.
It was Qua.
Yes, exactly. And she's been working with me now. She's in one of my programs. So I have to have her come on the podcast sometime as well. So all kinds of things are happening. But anyways, I'm so excited to have you on and to have you share more. I remember when we had our connection call after that, I was at a park with my kids.
And I remember, and you were apologizing. You said, Sabrina, I'm sorry. And I'm like, oh, I just love it. And you said, well, I thought I had them set. I thought I had them here and I had them there. And then one came up, then the other came up. You said, this is what happens. I said, it's okay.
Yeah. Well,
I'm a grandmother. I get it.
Right. And you were just telling me your grandmother's twins. So you know how it goes with multiples. But anyways, tell us more about who you are and what you do, and we'll get started.
Well, thank you so much. So I am a wife, a mother, and a grandmother. And as I mentioned, I have 3-year-old twin grandgirls, and I also have an 11-year-old granddaughter. Nice. I'm the mother of a 34-year-old and a 32-year-old, and happily married. I'm a former career woman in corporate America, 41 years in corporate America as a corporate operations manager. That's where I hung my hat for years. And now I'm a licensed financial coach. I'm also a certified life coach and author of 5 books and 1 coming. So we'll talk about that.
Wow. That's amazing. And wow, 41-year career and still doing all kinds of amazing things out there and not stopping. That's just incredible and very empowering to our empowered women that are listening to us. So tell us more. Yeah. Tell us more about this transition from corporate into finance world. I'm sure people are curious.
And why that? Why? Well, they say finance isn't sexy, but baby, it pays.
I love it.
Baby, it pays. So, here I am, really what people would call retirement age, because nowadays people start thinking about retiring in their late 50s. I want to say, listening to the millennials now, they want to retire at age 40.
Right.
That's what I'm hearing. They say age 40. Yeah, such a change. My mom's generation, people worked until they were in their 60s and even 70s. And we see 17-year-olds bagging groceries, working. They call it Walmart greeters, but it's just basically saying customer service work when you're in your 60s and 70s. So here I am in those soon-to-be retirement years and wondering, what am I going to do? I mean, this corporate gig's gone because of the pandemic. And I didn't want to reemploy because I'd already ridden that bicycle. And I'm thinking, why would I want to keep doing that? It's time for me to enjoy life, but on my terms. How can I best serve? Because I love serving. I didn't mention that I am the founder of a women's empowerment organization of 600 women. And I was serving them, small entrepreneurs, to be seen in the community and also to do charity work. So my heart was always in serving people. How can I best serve them? I thought, share your journey, which is I'm at the end of the rainbow and I don't have a pot of gold waiting. I didn't have a lot of money waiting on me when this thing happened because I was not financially prepared. I had not made that a priority. And so consequently, when that happened to me, I couldn't just retire. I had to still bring some income in. So I thought, why don't I use my lesson as a blessing to help other people? And I got licensed in financial services so that I could help people grow their net worth grow their assets, and be prepared for life at any age and any stage. And that's what I do. And there's always a foundation. So we start with the foundation. We put the walls up. We put the roof on. We even do the point. And so when my clients finish, they have a number in their head. They know how they're going to get there. And we want to get that net worth there as well. Yeah. So I work on growth and income. That's what I work on. Growth and income and stabilizing your financial future. And with that, let me just throw this in too. We didn't mention, because you were featured on our show. We had Miss Marta on our show. I am the COO of Thriving Women Network. And we actually featured her on our show, Financial Freedom. And she dropped some serious nuggets on that show. If you're listening, for mommies and families out there, that you can own your own time. Right. You can own your own time. And she gave the tools for that. And so I want to pay it for her too. We certainly enjoyed her on our show. And she's going to be back to feature her book.
That's right. Oh, you ladies have all kinds of amazing things with these shows. And it was such a amazingly put together show. I need to share the link and share more on it. Yes. Because it was really, I loved all the production of the pictures and everything that you guys put together. It was really awesome. So thanks so much for having me. Well, and I love how I didn't know about this shift, that the shift came because of the pandemic. And yes. I feel many people experienced something similar with being laid off and not being prepared for it, because when you're in a career for 41 years. So tell me about your expectations. Like, had that not happened, do you think you would have just continued and followed the path of retirement? I mean, what a shift and what a blessing to then be doing what you're doing now. I'd love to hear your take on that.
Well, so then, my thought processes was I would work until I just didn't want to work anymore. Yeah. And get to the age where I could draw my Social Security and then live off of that. I was very disillusioned, number one, because you really can't live off of Social Security. Yeah. And I was contributing to my 401k. So I thought, oh, that'd be nice. But it really wasn't enough to fund my life for the next 20 years. My mother's 87 and she's still living. Yeah. So what do you live on at age 87? You can't just live on Social Security. Right. You have to have some other streams of income. Well, my mom was one of those fortunate ones where she worked in the school system for 33 years and she has a pension. She gets a check every month, which is more than some people make in a month's working. But those days are gone now. So really the only companies that are offering pensions are government jobs and some really big entities. Okay. Really big entities. There's still, government, school systems, and some really big entities. The private sector, I'm going to share some earth-shattering news here. They don't have a retirement plan for you. Wow. So you can work there for 30 years, 40 years like me. And when you quit, that's the end of the paycheck. And there's no other plan for you. So I suggest people to, when you're looking for a job, look at the income, obviously, because that's what you need to live off of. Right. Then ask yourself, where is this income going to take me? See, here's what happens, Marta. When people earn a paycheck, they're thinking about meeting their expenses. Right. Go, oh, yeah. If I make $50,000, I can do this, I can do that, and maybe still have $10 left over, right? Yeah. What they don't have planned in that is their savings, their growth in income. They don't say, well, I've got an extra $500 left over each month that I could put 200 in growth. I could put 200 in income accounts. So that by the time I finish working there, I've got $1 million, maybe 2 million over that period of 30 years. So now you got that $1 million and 2 million set aside in addition to your Social Security, or maybe even in addition to your portfolio income. Because there's 3 different types of financial buckets that we all need to have. May I share those 3?
Oh, yeah, please. No, I'm loving the content.
Okay, so the first bucket is active income. That's what you're doing. Right. That's what I'm doing. That's active. We work for that. We're showing up to do something. Yes. Whether it's selling potato chips or programs or an employer. It doesn't matter if you're 1099 or W-2. if you're actively doing something to bring that check in, that's called active income. Mm-hmm. Normally that active income pays for the roof over our head, food on the table, those types of things. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, if we've positioned ourselves well, that active income, you're making so much of it that you can put it into these other vehicles that I talked about, right. Your growth and your income, so that you have something for the future. Future could be 5 years, 10 years, 20, 30, 40 years. So we all have active income. Second bucket is passive income. That's that other stream of money that's coming in. Maybe you have rental property.
Right.
Maybe you have a little code where if somebody purchases this swimsuit, you get paid $20, $30. You haven't done anything except put that code out there. Maybe you're an angel investor. Maybe you've invested in a business. You don't do anything. You know, you just reap the rewards, the net profits that come in quarterly, yearly, whatever it is. You may have done just a little bit of work to get it started, but after that, it's peace out, right? You don't do anything that rolls in the door. Now, that active income should be used for your two buckets, your growth and your income. That active income should not be spending money. It shouldn't be extra change money. Oh, let's go blow and buy. That's not what you want to use it for. Mm-hmm. It should help get you to that third bucket. And that third bucket is your portfolio income. Inside of that bucket are your hard assets. What are hard assets? Well, it could be your life insurance policy and should be. That's part of your financial house. I do some call your financial house. The very foundation of your financial house is life insurance. And a lot of people will ask you when you're going to apply for things, when you're going to do you have life insurance? Mm-hmm. How much? Okay. Creditors want to know they can get that back when something happens to you. So this is not about life insurance, but I want to tell you what's inside that portfolio. Also your IRAs, whether it's Roth or traditional, that's in there. Mm-hmm. Ownership of property, whether it's your home, maybe you have some investment property, that goes in there. Maybe you have some family heirlooms that have value. Maybe you collect coins. You have something in there that does not depreciate in value. That is in your portfolio. Mm. Now that becomes your net worth. So what is your net worth? Your net worth is all of your assets minus your debt. Mm-hmm. Minus your debt. So let me give you an example of this. One of my clients says, well, I got $100,000 in my 401k. That's great. That's wonderful. Let's do something with it. Well, I have $140,000 in student loans. Ooh. Does that person have assets right now?
No.
They're in the negative by $40,000.
Right. Wow.
It's a false sense of security that you got money in the bank, but you owe people. Mm-hmm. So you take your assets minus your liabilities, minus your debt, and that's your net worth. So your net worth is in your portfolio. It could be EFTs, it could be stocks, it could be bonds, it could be mutual funds. There's so many things, certificates of deposit, CDs, cryptocurrency. It could be any of those things and savings accounts inside that portfolio. So you have to have a diverse portfolio. Mm-hmm. Our goal is to get you to a number. Mm-hmm. And I always ask my client, Marta, what's your number? I said, what's your number?
And I would guess the majority of people don't even know
they don't have a clue. Not only, and then Marta, here's what's funny. Men and women answer that question differently.
Really?
When I ask a man, what's your number? He thinks of his yearly income. $100,000. They're not thinking future.
Okay.
Because we weren't taught to think future.
No.
My mom, as good as she is, she didn't teach me this.
Right.
Because if she did, I would have been ready when I lost my job. And so I didn't teach my children, but I'm teaching them now. My son's like happy, so happy. The other thing is, we don't think that. So now women, I hate to say this to you women, but when I say, what's your number? They think, well, you're talking about my phone number. Are you talking?
Oh my goodness.
I am serious as a heart attack.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
We're not
thinking about it.
We're not thinking financial.
That's insane. Yeah.
We're not thinking financial. So we are living for today.
Right.
Let's face it. We like to glam up. We like to look nice. We like to have our branded items and clothing, all those things, but we don't think about our financial future.
Well, let me ask you this, because I'm so interested in your story from coming to corporate to working for yourself. And I was wanting to ask you the main differences, the pros and cons that you noticed with that transition, especially for me coming from, I barely have any experience in corporate. I did work for an agency for a while, but by far everything I've done has been self-employed, even back in Brazil. So I'd love to hear on that, but also in terms of the mentality, if you notice any differences, like you were saying, men and women have these differences, but when it comes to people coming from corporate versus entrepreneurs, or if it's basically the same, the vast majority of people in general are financially illiterate.
Well, we know, yes, we are. Great questions, Marta. Great questions. So let me weigh in on that. So I have a presentation called What is an Entrepreneur? It's a little PowerPoint.
Nice.
And so I looked up some statistics and everything on entrepreneurship versus employment. We'll talk about that.
Okay.
But women by far, if you want to get something done from an entrepreneurial standpoint and the data that was given, women are going to work twice as hard because we're better communicators.
Nice.
We're better communicators. So a man starting out and a woman starting out, the woman's going to work twice as hard to achieve her results. She's going to do a much better job at team communicating, client communicating in general. So those are the statistics. So women, you have a fighting chance to go out there and stand tall.
Nice.
Because when we put our mind to something, we do it, don't we?
True.
We get it done. So from an entrepreneurial standpoint, the odds are in your favor if you want to go out and be an entrepreneur, because you're going to get the job done.
Nice.
Now let's weigh out employment versus entrepreneurship.
Right.
The differences are ownership of time. The differences are the amount of time that you're away from your home. Now, we have a lot of businesses now that allow you to work in your home.
Right.
However, you got to be plugged in and they're watching and monitoring what you do. And they know when you're at your workstation and when you're not. And you can't think, okay, well, I'll do this at home and you got kids and all running around. They just know. So the main difference between employment and entrepreneurship is time. Now, for me, I set my day. I set my work hours. I set my playtime. If something comes up, I can flex.
Right.
When you're working, you can't flex. You have to go ask for time off.
Right.
And you may or may not get it. So here's a story. When my daughter had her first baby, a mother's responsibility. I mean, you quit and mom is there with the child.
Yeah.
That's just a given, right? Mom spends that first week. Here I am working this corporate job. And I said, look, whatever happened, I'm not going to be available at this time, right? Because I got to go take care of my grandbaby.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Go first day with the grandbaby, I get a call from my employer. I got to have you back in here. I can't do your job. Nobody can do your job. We got to have you back in here. I'm like, my daughter's laid up. Like, how can I do this? This is not right here. She needs my help.
Right.
I'm sorry. You got to come in for a couple hours. I know maybe I hire a temp person, but you got to come in. Now, I didn't get paid any more money for that.
Right.
There was nothing came my way. But when you work for yourself, that's just not going to happen. Clear the calendar. I'm spending this time. So that's just a scenario of pros and cons. Now, Marta, some people like the comforts of an employer.
Yeah.
Let's just talk money for a minute.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
They like the security.
I'm interested in security.
The money mindset, right? The security of knowing you're going to get paid every Friday or every other Friday.
Right.
They just like knowing they're going to get that. When you're at 1099, it doesn't happen.
Right.
We don't get paid every Friday. We get paid when we have clients.
That's right.
Right? So you might get a big client this week and none next week. And that's this business. But let's talk business for a minute. Think about how often you buy a product. You see, we're buying product all the time. One week we might not buy that product.
Yeah.
So people that sell products, their numbers are ebbs and flows too.
Mm-hmm.
They may have big sales, they may have low sales. So if you're a person who has to have the comforts of getting that check every week, then employment is probably for you.
Right.
If you can manage your time and do your budgeting, and time is of greatest importance to you, and you can handle that, then 1099 or being self-employed or being an entrepreneur is for you. So it's not for everybody. Would you not agree, Murda?
Oh, yeah, 100%. And even when you think it is for you, there are still some moments of doubt. Because
You're like, nah.
Yeah. And I think also because we've been conditioned for so long to, with that mindset, just like what you're saying, we've been taught this for generations. And then when you go do something different, you don't really have a whole lot of point of reference, or even encouragement at times from family and friends. People don't understand what you're doing. So it's tricky. Well, I love all the wisdom that you've shared so far. Definitely a lot of things to think about and giving us a little taste of what you can help your clients do. Can you tell us how specifically you work with people? What are the options? You do calls, and I know you do presentations. If someone's like, all right, I need to sit down with Sabrina and I need to have a conversation and I need to have her ask me what my number is.
I know. What's your number? Well, first of all, I want to share something because I feel like I need to validate myself as well because, there's financial people are everywhere.
Yeah.
Let's just face it, like 7-Elevens are on every corner. So I always tell my clients that I will never ask anything of you that I'm not doing myself. You can read books, you can do all kinds of things. But what are they all about? Are they where they're asking me to be?
Yeah.
So I just hit a milestone. The 2 years from when I started this journey to now, and now my net worth is $1 million.
Oh my goodness. Congratulations. That's incredible. That's amazing. And that's such, role model for what you're teaching.
Definitely role modeling because see, people can talk that talk, but are they walking that walk?
That's right.
Yeah. Somebody could be mentoring you on finances and they don't have a pot to pee in.
Right.
Or they're not where they're asking you to go.
Exactly. Because everyone has to start somewhere, but let it be in alignment with what you're asking.
Well, and that's why I'm telling the story. I started this 2 years ago.
Right.
Look how long it took me. So obviously when I first started, I didn't have that.
Right.
It took me time.
In 2 years, that's amazing.
Well, I made some smart moves. Okay. I made some smart moves and I'm really happy about that. Passive income investment that I made.
Incredible.
Growth. Yeah. So I made some smart moves and positioned myself. Yeah. And that's what it's all about. But I wouldn't have known anything about that at all until I start opening my mind and opening my ears and listening and learning. So I'm a lifelong learner. You have to be a lifelong learner.
Yes, you do.
So with my clients, I don't charge a fee. I don't charge a fee for people to sit with me. I do everything I do is virtual. Okay. And we have a conversation. And my first meeting is always a little presentation that I take them through these little 4 points. We talk. There's no selling there. I need to educate you first. Right. Let's learn. Let's make sure you understand. I ask them what their number is, and I tell them by the time we're finished, you're going to know what your number is. So I did one today, and I asked this guy, I said, what's your number? He said $1 million. I said, well, okay, that sounds like a good number. Do you know when we finished, it was 3 million.
Oh, wow. Amazing.
See, so it takes time to get to that and understand what that number represents. Right. And that was just in one setting. But I earned his trust. And I said, I would really like to help you. And I shared with him where I'm at now. Is $1 million enough for me? Not really. It's a legacy now. If anything happens to me, that is my assets minus debt, $1 million. That's what I'm leaving to my family. Right. Okay, that's my estate. I now have an estate. And it can be cashed in, sold. Some of it's cash, some of it's real estate, whatever. It can be liquidated, and that's what I have. Now, I want more because I plan on living another 20 years, 30 years. But this is where I'm going. And so I'm teaching and coaching. So in your first session with me, you're going to know what your number is. Not something you pull out of your head. You'll know that number. And then we're going to talk about your financial house. We're going to talk about the walls, the foundation, the roof, all of those things, and what these different vehicles mean, growth and income. Throw some terms out, make sure you understand. But this all happens in several stages. You haven't spent a dime to meet with me. Now, I will explain something. I want to explain something to the listeners because sometimes you've talked to financial people, sometimes you haven't. I really want to educate. Some people make money in the financial business just with consultation. So they charge by the hour, by the consultation, and that you're their client, blah, blah, blah. Other people make money on the product. Now, with the product, you as the client shouldn't be paying that. That comes from the companies, like the insurance companies, right? And then there's some that make money from you if they have certain types of licenses, but according to the state laws, all of that you have to be aware of that. There's papers that you sign that says, yes, I know Sabrina just made 2% on this. Okay. So client should always be aware, Now that's in your best interest. It's in your best interest that you know how they make their money, because you don't want them selling you the farm just so they can make money. Right. You want them doing things for you that's in your best interest. And sometimes the lower tier is what's in your best interest, not way up here. Yeah. And so that's how I work with my clients. Gotcha. Is to identify what's most important. That's what they can expect from me. Now, I do have referral partners, Marta. Nice. What that means is sometimes it's out of my wheelhouse. I'm not a tax specialist. Right. If you have tax questions, I'm going to refer you to my tax person. Okay. If you need a will, power of attorney, if you need to do some estate planning that involves legal contracts, I'm going to refer you to my estate planner. Nice. If you want to do some risk type growth products, and risk simply means you can make it or you can lose it, I'm going to refer you to someone who has a securities license. But everything that I do is fixed, guaranteed. You don't lose any money. Wonderful. Oh my goodness. You've given us lots to think about and also to want to connect with you and ask more questions. And we'll be sure to share all your contact information. But I do have my rapid fire questions before we close. Are you ready? I'm excited. I'm ready. To see what comes up. All right. So the first one is notice yourself. What comes to mind? I think what comes out of your mouth. Notice yourself. To me, it's not a look. It's how are you representing? Did I say or do the right thing? Did I represent properly who I am and what I stand for? Love it. Next one, listen to yourself. Yeah, and I do listen to myself. Sometimes I do practice and I walk the talk. So if I'm speaking something, I need to make sure I'm doing it. Okay. I love that perspective, which is exactly what you shared with what you've been able to achieve and accomplish in the last 2 years. Amazing. The next one is forgive yourself. Well, sometimes you're going to make mistakes. We all do. You just can't live in that moment. Just own the mistake. Maybe I misspoke something and it was wrong. And then when you do, admit you're wrong. Right. Admit it and just move on. Yeah, that's a big piece. Next one is empower yourself. Oh, I love that. So that means for me, reading, taking in information and knowledge. Sometimes clients will ask me questions. I really don't have the answer, not enough to put my name on it. Right. So, and I will tell them, I said, you know what? I need to do more research on that. And I'll go spend hours and hours and hours. And then I will consult with other professionals. Then I'll come back with an answer. Never front. I don't front. If I don't know it, I'm not going to own it. I'm going to go educate myself on it. Right. There's no shame in that. And last but not least, transform yourself. Oh, I just did that. Yes. I just transformed myself. I went from an employee to full-time entrepreneur, biting my nails because I'm not getting that check every Friday. Goodness. Wow. What an amazing journey. Such an amazing example and story and so encouraging, right? For anyone that's starting out or maybe has been at it for a while and see the possibilities that in a couple years you can do amazing things. So thank you so much for joining me today. This was so illuminating. I loved it. Tell us how we can find you and connect with you. Oh, well, thank you. So SabrinaProTIC.com. You can find me there at SabrinaProTIC.com. Also, I'm on social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, all of those. And also I have some new things coming out. Can I share that? That's right. Yes, please do. Okay. Well, I say they're new. It's new because you don't know about it. But my book, Hindsight to Insight, Money Between Family and Friends. Oh, I tell you what, that book, everybody should get that book, because if you've ever had any financial transactions with anybody, loans, you owe them, they owe you, marriage, husband, wife, things you don't know, things you should know, things that were hidden from you, things you hid from other people, just money, everything, money talk, money stories. That's the book. Hindsight to Insight, Money Between Family and Friends. And also, I'm featured on a magazine called She Exists. I'm a cover girl, so excited about that.
Oh, I saw that. I actually did see it.
Yes.
So beautiful. I love it.
Oh, I just love it. I love the whole process of that. And I want to say, at this point in my life, look at what's happening. If I had still been employed, I wouldn't have been a cover girl.
Yeah.
If I had still been employed, I wouldn't have my book. And this is my 6th book, by the way.
Amazing.
Book number 6. So I'm an Amazon bestseller. My prior books, and I'm just excited to be bringing this book. And next year, Marta, I'm going to be working on a children's book.
Aw, that's amazing.
So I'm excited about that.
Talk about transformation. Thank you so much for the inspiration and the empowerment, Sabrina. You are amazing.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be on your show and look forward to having you back on ours to feature your book.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks so much for tuning in today. Don't forget to connect with our guest. All the links are in the show notes. Until next time, bye.